to change. They want me to change, but I ain't changing. Nah.
And you are now tuned into another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio, brought to you in concert with A Beautiful Machine magazine and the mighty Nerd DJs Radio Network. You already know, man. Every week, every month, every hour. Okay, I'm lying about the hour part, but you get the point. We only rock with legends around here, and today is absolutely no exception. We have one of the most phenomenal human beings since Adam, Marcus Manderson in the building.
I don't know about since Adam, but yeah, definitely appreciate the intro. That's fun. Since Adam.
That's the first too.
That's crazy, Adam.
Yo, man, I'm gonna have to use that again. How's your family, man? How's life?
Life is good. Family is good. For those who don't know, I have a wife. We've been married for 21, 22 years. You stop counting after a while. But got a daughter at Spelman, sophomore year. Got a son that's a senior in high school. So life is good. And then we got a dog. So enjoying life, enjoying the family life.
Biggest fear for your grandchildren?
Say that again.
What's your biggest fear for your future grandchildren?
The grandchildren. I never thought about the grandchildren fear. I'm always afraid of me not being here for them to see them grow up. Obviously, we can't control what happens in life, but also for them not being able to have a life if they're being a minority, especially in America. There's challenges just with that alone. So that's a fear. Then there's also this technology thing. I don't know what the world, even when our daughter graduates from college, I don't even know what the world's going to be because of this whole AI thing. So it's going to be a different world for the next generation. It's a different world for us right now. Next week is going to be a different world. So it changes so rapidly. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's disheartening.
Yeah.
And I feel like the old nigga. Like I used to talk about, man, you an old nigga, man, back in the day. Man, shut up. Nobody wants to hear what you're talking about. Nobody wants to hear about the 60s, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that guy now. And it's like,
yeah,
I feel bad that you don't get a green grass to play
on. I'm definitely old, but I don't feel old. But my body, sometimes, you try to move one way that you could do 20 years ago, you can't do now. But the kids keep us young and keep us energized and informed, relevant. Our son is like doing stuff now on the phone. I'm like, the phone. My wife's doing stuff that I could, the technology, and I work in technology, so it's like. But I'm like, I know what I know now, and it's like I don't really want to learn much new stuff. So I'm at that age.
What's the difference between a composer and a producer?
So a composer, most people think that a composer is, probably rightfully so, someone that's like creating music that will be performed by an orchestra, like in an orchestral studio setting.
Gotcha.
I consider anyone who starts with a blank slate, whether it's Logic Pro or a sheet of paper, and has music by the end of it, as a composer. So producers can be composers. I always thought a composer had to be someone that stood in front of the orchestra, directing the orchestra, or making the music for them. Until I started calling myself a composer, and I wasn't doing that. And then I found myself in spaces where I, to some extent, was doing that. And then the producer, someone who I consider a producer, someone who puts everything together. Like, as far as a producer can bring in a composer or a beat maker, which is separate from a producer, or a singer songwriter. They produce the actual song. And they have sort of like the overall vision. It's like the director of a film, and they're bringing in like the actors. The musicians are the actors, or the songwriter, and they're bringing in the set designer and the clothing costumer and all these different elements. So the producer produces the song, and it could be the same as the producer, the composer, beat maker. It could be all in one. It could be the artist as well. So one person can do it all. But that's how, in my mind, I define those roles.
So how did you get into syncing?
So I went to a school forever ago. called Full Sail University, and
Oh, I
uh,
remember that.
yeah. So they're still there. But I went there, and during the pandemic, they started doing these online meetups. In fact, there's one tonight. About once a month, maybe once every 2 months, they do an
Mhm.
online meetup on Zoom where alum can just come and just network and talk about projects they're working on. They can work on ideas and collaborate and things. And during one of these Zooms, I guess it was 2021, maybe 2020. It was during the pandemic. Um, colleague from Full Sail. His name is the real Mr. Watt, another incredible composer and producer.
Mhm.
He was telling me there was going to be a sync webinar that next weekend with someone named Nelson K. Johnson. He was like, "Hey, my friend Nelson's hosting a sync webinar. If you want to, join it, let me know. I can get you a ticket or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, let me know." And I got a ticket to the webinar, and I remember it because it was had to be like around October, I think. It was the
Mhm.
weekend we were shopping for our daughter's homecoming uh, dress that year. And I don't know anything about dresses, so I went out with my wife and daughter and the family to go dress shopping. But while they're looking at dresses and stuff in all these stores, I'm on my phone on this Zoom call and just learning about sync. So Nelson K. Johnson via the real Mr. Watt did that webinar and started diving down the rabbit hole of learning about sync and getting into sync. And finding resources online, and that sort of led to building the journey that I've been on.
So how many shows have you been watching on TV with your kids and your music comes on?
You know what? Surprisingly, I do not watch a lot of TV.
Really?
I don't watch
You
a
don't
lot
even
of
watch
TV.
shit that you in, bro?
No, I try. So I tried it. I got a lot of music over the last year and a half or so on a show called Catfish, which is on. It's on a couple channels, but I think MTV. I don't want to say the wrong channel.
I want to say
Uh,
it.
but it's basically about people who try to catfish people. They say
Nasty.
they're in love with them or whatever, and then they try to meet up with them, and then it turns out they don't.
Horrible.
Yeah. So I
I
got
too have been catfish, but like
yeah.
the old school version.
Not
I dialed the wrong number. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
not the digital way.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I watched one of these episodes because I was looking at one of my statements, and it was like I had a lot of music on one particular episode, like 20 different cues, and I was watching the episode and listening to the music, and it sounded like stuff I would make, but I was like, I guess it's my because I at that point I probably made that music 2 years before I watched it, two
Mm.
years ago. So I made a lot of music. I make a lot of music in a year. So I was like, yeah, I guess this. I mean, I'm getting paid for it. So yeah, if it's a big thing, there's big projects. Like I would
Mhm.
say, one of the most prideful moments was going with my family to Disneyland in California and seeing my music as part of a Disney attraction. So, or hearing my music as part of a Disney theme park
Really?
attraction. So, in that case, that one is like,
That's so
yeah, we're going out. We're gonna see this in person. I've had music in museum exhibits. So there's different avenues, but the TV stuff. There's some things that I'm proud of, but I don't watch the placements uh, yet. Um, I haven't hit there's been some that I miss because I don't see it until it's on
mhm.
the BMI statement, unless a company reaches out and say, "Hey, you're going to be on this the show or this
So
episode."
basically you just put your shit in the pool
Mhm.
and you find out when you get paid if they picked it up.
That's one way. Yeah, that's one way for sync is to as a music creator get your music into the pool, which are sync libraries or production music libraries,
Mhm.
and getting music into those libraries, and then the library itself has those relationships with the music supervisors, who are the people that can help place your music into the TV, film,
Mhm.
things like that, and then they send their music out to their clients for opportunities, and you find out. And then the other way is building those relationships with sync agents, sync libraries, which can uh, uh, for sync agents, they can represent your music. They also it's very similar to production music libraries, but sync
Mhm.
agents typically want to represent a song like with lyrics. Production music libraries typically will represent instrumentals. Sometimes they can overlap, but and then sync agents will represent songs with lyrics for the most part. They can also get instrumentals, but mostly with lyrics. Or the other way is to go direct to like a music supervisor and build those relationships. That takes time. In my case, years. It's helped that I've, built those relationships and brought some of those people out on stages across the world. But um, So there's a lot of ways to get into sync. Another way is to collaborate with someone already in sync who's getting placements. So there are incredible artists, producers, composers out in the sync world who are getting placements. Often. So
Mhm.
whatever your role is in the music industry, if you're an artist, maybe you could collaborate with a producer getting sync placements. If you're a producer, you can find artists getting sync placements and collaborate with them, and start building those relationships. And but yeah, the before anything to get into sync, make sure as a music creator you have a PRO, which is in the US it's BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC are the three majors. There are a couple minors. Most countries have their own PRO. So
Mhm.
what that is if you join a PRO, you'll get what's called an IPI number, and that number is basically like your social security number for music. And that's the number you're going to put down on all the paperwork you fill out and things, and that's how you get paid on the back end when you hear about back end royalties from these placements. The show will send a cue sheet with the
Yo.
list of to like BMI, and then if your song is listed on there, and then make sure all your information is there, then you'll get a royalty statement, and you'll get paid for it. So there's a lot of nuance here and there. I'm just doing like a high level overview, but definitely learning the business of sync specifically, which is separate from like writing for like a pop artist and things like that.
So do you write for artists also?
I do. So I don't write. I haven't written lyrics in a while.
Mhm.
As far as production, I produce with artists. I work with artists. I work with a team called Level Up Music Productions. We do writing camps around the world. We just did London and Toronto last month. And those writing camps are focused on sync, but we also do writing camps for artists and production camps for artists. So it's I don't write lyrics, but as far as producing the music, I can jump in and write lyrics if needed, but I haven't written lyrics in a long time. It's been a while.
Is there somebody that you produce and you just thought, wow, what a genius?
A lot of people. I mean, I'm in Virginia. I didn't mention where I'm from. I live in the DMV, close to the DC area, and
Mhm.
I like working with Jade Josephine, who's another Virginia artist, female rapper, and she's probably one of the first that got me back into working or got me into working with artists. When I started getting into sync, I was only focused on instrumentals and working
Okay.
with instrumentals and getting those placed. And a couple of years ago, she reached out. It was like she wanted to collaborate on like some epic cinematic hip hop stuff, and we've got some placements and worked on a couple projects together. Uh, there's an artist, Brianna Shelko, who is the CEO of Level Up Music Productions. Where we do the writing camps, but she's also an
Mhm.
incredible singer songwriter. Her vocals are insane. Um, we worked on a lot of projects in music and made some great money together. And then there's another incredible songwriter who I enjoy working with out in LA. Her name is Maya Labaya. She always kills it just vocally, her melodies, writing wise. There's a lot of people that I follow in this space. Some people
Mhm.
that I'm inspired by. I haven't worked with them directly, but like Easy McCoy, incredible hip hop artist. And I don't want to put people in a genre, but incredible rapper and writer. There's Bo Williams, another insane artist who's doing like a lot of music for a lot of brands and companies. There's Nick Phelps. I can go on for days of people who I've worked with and haven't worked with, and I
Mhm.
hate saying names, but those are the ones that jump out. There's a lot of people who I meet every year and work with them and work on projects and get them into libraries and get placements. So of course I'm gonna miss a lot of names. But I collaborate with a lot of artists, so I'm thankful for all the ones I have worked with and collaborated with over the last 2-3 years. And I'm always finding more and more people are reaching out. So um, yeah, I basically have to like pick and choose little
Mhm.
by little, like because I can only do like focus on one at a time. But yeah, I create a lot of music, so work with a lot of artists.
Yo. Okay. So what are you using? And by that I mean, is it hardware or software?
All mostly software. I use Logic Pro as my DAW, which is a digital audio workstation. For those who don't
Mhm.
know, the software for creating music that I use. As far as I have a keyboard, I have a Yamaha Motif. It's a classic keyboard from Yamaha. It came out in 2001, I think. And I was using that. I used to play in church, so I was using that when I played in church. I'm a piano player and Hammond organ artist. So when I
Mhm.
would go out and do gigs, I used to play in like bands and stuff. I would bring my keyboard out. So I've had that keyboard. And then if I travel, I have a little portable keyboard that I travel with that fits in like my book bag. I mostly use the ESI Audio X Key Air like 25 key, which is like really
Mhm.
small, but I can do what I need to do when I'm traveling, and it fits in my book bag. Um, but yeah, other than that, all the sound, most of the sounds and stuff I'm using are um, they're not all Logic stock. I have a bunch of plugins, but it's all digital stuff.
Do you sit back and listen to your own shit?
Sometimes, like especially if I release an album, like over the summer, I released an album almost every week. I did
Mhm.
6 albums in 8 weeks, I think. And
Really?
I listen to it, of course, to do a quality check and things, see how things flow together. Once like I'm done with the project, get it to the
Mhm.
library, and it's done, I probably won't revisit the project unless I'm listening with the family or like doing a listening session or something. But yeah, then just like move on to the next, and just building the catalog.
Favorite one you've done and your least favorite?
Is this placement or like song
Doesn't
or
matter.
um? I can't think of a least favorite. Well, one of the placements I mentioned at Disneyland, one this year that I landed earlier in the summer. It was a trailer
Mhm.
for a promo for, it's called The Golden Ticket. It's a Netflix upcoming, I don't know if it came out yet, but a show focused on somehow related to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I landed the music I had on it was a trailerization of Pure Imagination, which is from the original Willy Wonka show. And I basically did like a cinematic,
Mhm.
you know, not necessarily remix, but trailerization is like taking things to like an epic cinematic level of that song,
Okay.
and it landed on that project. So that's one that I because well, part of it's because it's my first Netflix placement, so that's one that. I enjoy it. I'm trying to think if there is a least favorite because I don't listen to everything. There's been some surprising. I actually did a recent episode of my podcast going over my recent BMI statement, and there was some
Mhm.
surprising placements. I think I had two or three um, songs on. It was like it was some type of Diddy documentary, like uh, the making of a bad boy, or so I forgot the title of it. But I was like, okay, this is interesting. I haven't watched it. I didn't go watch it, but I think I got like three or four songs on there or cues. So yeah, looking at the BMI statements every quarter is like, oh, okay, I see what's landing and what's going where and what songs are being used. So I'm not saying that's the least favorite, but that was just a surprising one. But I don't know if I have
Yeah, that's
because
crazy.
to get paid, for anything these days, if you get $100 for a placement, how many billions of spins do you need on Spotify to get $100 these days? So, um, yeah,
Is it worth it financially now?
Spotify or Sync.
Six.
Syncs, it can be. I know I follow a lot of people who I have a Facebook group. I have people in my group who are getting 20, 30,000 quarterly statements from their PRO. Um, and I see my statements increasing, going up every quarter. So I think you have to, if you're trying to get rich quick, no, if you think it's going to be like a lottery. I mean, some people, get in sync early or they find the right, within a couple months they get a great placement and they just run it up
Mhm.
from there. But for the most part, it's that's
Mhm.
actually how I got into sync. Going back to your first question, is I joined a company in 2021 called Hard Drive, HRDRV, and they were just getting into like sort of the sync side of things, and they had an opportunity for BMF, and I sent some music in, like 4 or 5 tracks, and then they were like, the teams are really liking your music, send more. So I ended up sending like 5 more, got to 10. They were like, send more. So I ended up sending, I think, 20 overall, and that year got a lot of placements on BMF, and it was a decent payout for each placement. And I was like, yeah, I can do this every year. But then for the next year, there was like no placements. So I was like, oh wait, what happened? So then I had to actually go figure out what this whole sync thing was about, and
Mhm.
you know hedge the bet sort of, and join some other companies and meet up with people and start figuring out what sync was. So I actually got a little that upfront rush, and I was like, oh yeah, this is easy. And then it's like, oh no, it's not so easy.
Yeah. That day, humble pie is served to everyone.
Yeah. hmm
Hey, the NHL though, how the fuck do that seems like a unique placement.
Yeah, a lot of those are from Eclipse Darkness. Shout out to Eclipse, from Oh I Like That Music. And a lot of most of my sports placements are actually through them so far.
Mhm.
And NHL, yeah, he's just like, yo, we just got another one, we got another one. And so yeah, just been running it up with them. And I typically lock in with like a library a year. So last year,
Mhm.
I provided them with a lot of music, and I have a number that I try to hit with each library to get into their catalog. Because once you have that number of music in their catalog, especially if they have 10,000 tracks, or some of these catalogs have 100,000. You can't cut through if you only have 5 songs in there. Maybe you can if the songs are really really amazing, which they can be, but yeah, it is to some extent a quantity game. You have to have quantity and quality. It's not either or. um,
Mhm.
but there are some people, like I said, that do 4 songs or a 10 song album, and those 10 songs run it up for 2-3 years, and they're good to go.
Yo, so what's like a typical day for you? Like, you got a home studio? It's like 9 to 5, and you clocking out. You going back home?
Clocking out. So I work full time. So there is um, a lot of people think I don't work full time, and I'm like, no, because all I post about is music, and I'm like, no, I work full time. But when I get to the point where I don't have to work full time, yeah, it'll be a game over. But I work at National Geographic in Washington D.C. By day, and
Really?
yep,
I
and
didn't get
then
that part in the bio.
yeah, because
What are
I'll
you
probably
doing in National? That's so fucking
it's actually, I
interesting,
should
bro.
add that to the bio. I do AV IT work, audiovisual information technology. When I started working there, it was doing more audio engineering. We had a studio on site, uh, but that has since gone away. So I do AV IT work, which is conference room support, Zoom, Google Meet, a lot of virtual meetings, office technology support, and maintenance. So I'm the AV manager on the AV IT team there. And by day, if I have little breaks here and there, I do bring in, like my little keyboard, like during lunch break, I'm like working on mixes and stuff. And by night, come home, hang out with the family. Let's say if I go in the office and I get home, usually like 6 or 7, and spend time with the family, walk the dog, and make music, working on projects from, let's say, 9 until 1 or 2 in the morning, and wake up and go to work and do it all again the next day.
Yo, so are you seeing the lions eat the gazelles like up close and personal?
Yeah, get to see a lot of there's actually, working at National Geographic, there are things that I'm exposed to, um also musically, that I probably wouldn't be exposed to otherwise, as far as genres and
Mhm.
artists and things, because it's like I was so before working there, like just narrow minded, like hip hop, R&B, pop, um and yeah, being exposed to these different genres, and branching out like musically.
Are you scoring anything yet?
I have 2 independent films. Actually, I have a couple. I did one a long time ago,
Mhm.
uh, called Beta to the Max. It was discussing how sort of like transition we're going technology wise now, but how the world went from like beta tapes to, I think, Max or some type of tape, and then there was that was forever ago. I did an independent film called Jack on the Come Up. It was a short film, I think early on in the pandemic, and then the last one I did is called Hemisphere, which came out, I believe, 2 years ago. That was with the independent film director. It was streaming. It might still be on there on like Tubi and Amazon Prime. It's
Mhm.
like space suspense, like thriller type movie, set in space. And I'm currently working on one called Air Shift, which is set like in a radio station. And that one will be, I think it should be coming to like festivals soon, if not end of this year, early next year, and possibly working on another one. I actually have a meeting soon to be discussing working on music for another film, which will be an adaptation of a book. So really excited for that one, if I can get to work on that.
How far in advance do you get the movie? And
Mhm.
what's the thought process going into it? Is it a clean slate, or do you say, based off of what they told me in the meeting, I have a couple ideas. Let me see how it plays out.
I always start with ideas, because I want to enter into that conversation with like something to talk about.
Okay.
So, or also as like an investment. It's like, hey, sometimes it's, a gift and a curse, because I might spend a couple hours working on like an idea for a film project, without the video or picture. I might just only have like a concept of what the project is about.
Mhm.
So I'll create, an idea uh, around it, and then have that be sort of like the jumping off points. Like, hey, here's the idea I got just based off, might be from an email or a previous conversation,
Mhm.
just as a starting point musically. And then as the in the case of the most recent film, they gave me some references that they were pulling from,
Mhm.
and before they even shot the film, I was making music uh, that they could use and work with the film, along with the film. And then as they're shooting scenes, they might shoot me a scene and say, "Hey, can you, work on music for this scene here?" Uh, or can you? I've done some like rough cuts. I might watch. They might give me
Mhm.
like a rough cut. Say, hey, watch this film. What do you think? What do you think music should be? And then there's something that's called a spotting session. So as a
Okay.
composer, this is on the now composer side of things, like making music for film. Um, you have what's called a spotting session. So let's say uh, before you might already be working on music, but you will sit down with the director and watch through the film, and then the director might say, hey, at this point, I'm hearing
Mm,
these sounds or this music, and you just have a conversation about where music will place in the film.
got you.
So it's a different process than, of course, just sitting down and making a hip hop or pop beat for artists or for sync. And it's definitely obviously more a longer process because some films take years to develop and produce and get to the finish line.
Give me one classic movie throughout history that you would love to rescore.
I like the like fantasy stuff.
Because I'm thinking Star Wars.
I know Star Wars is one, and I'm thinking even more contemporary like fantasy. Like I like the music for Harry Potter, even though it's not. You might consider it classic. I think this is the 20 or 25th anniversary of the
Mhm.
first movie, so it's getting to that classic age. Uh, yeah, some of those classic Star Wars, Jaws is deceptively simple. I like composers. I like John Williams and Hans Zimmer, and even contemporary ones like Ludwig
Mhm.
Göransson, and of course, African American like Terrence Blanchard, Chris Bowers. So following these guys and just being inspired by what they bring to the table and listening to how they're approaching these projects they're working on, and just seeing like how would I approach it differently? And there used to be, I don't know if they do it anymore. There used to be companies that did contests,
Mhm.
especially Spitfire Audio was one of them, where they used to have footage from like a show. Like they would have an episode or a scene from Bridgerton, and they would allow composers to create to it.
Mm.
It's like, and you could win some prizes, some gear and stuff, and maybe some conversations. So during the pandemic, I also entered a lot of contests. In 2020, I entered over 200 contests, and so that was also honing chops, composing the picture or doing remix contests or doing sampling contests. Or so I entered a bunch of different contests just to keep the musical energy up because I didn't have to play in church, so I had a huge musical break from church.
Yo, 200?
200
You a
over 200.
machine, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, do you have a formula to the shit, or is it just simply organic, and then after the fact, here you
A,
go.
li- a little of both. So if especially if I'm working on an album of like a specific sound. So if it's recently did like a neoclassical hip hop project, so it's going to be like hip hop drums and sounds and 808s and stuff, but with strings. So
Mm,
when I create one track, I start one track from blank slate. Uh, and I build out that track, with the sounds and stuff I want to use. I
okay.
then I then reuse that template, that session as a template. So I delete all the sounds, the MIDI, the audio, and just copy it into another session, and then build again from that. But I still have my stuff is set up, like the drums are in there, the string
Mhm.
sounds I use are in there, and that becomes a template for like that album or that project. And there's a guy in the hip hop and pop production space. His name is Cosign, who
Mhm.
who calls those cousin beats or cousin type beats. Basically, you take the same session, delete all the audio and MIDI, and then create another song from it. And you know, it helps to speed up the process. And then we're going to sync in general, just being able to create different genres. Usually, I get requests from libraries,
Mhm.
and that helps. And I get references, so that also helps. Or I create my own references and say I want to make something like that. So all that sort of helps inform the direction I go musically.
Okay, so this is a question I ask
Yeah.
everybody that comes on the show.
Uh,
Has absolutely nothing to do with nothing, but here it goes. All right, you're sitting on a park bench, and God sits down next to you, and
mm.
he or she says you can ask them one question. What would it be? You didn't see that one coming.
I didn't see that one coming. What would I ask? I would have to get confirmation. Am I doing what his or her will is for my life? Because sometimes I'm doing so much. I'm like,
Mhm.
should I be doing this, or is this the path? Because I don't know, um, which one is right. Uh, you know, should I have? I no longer play in the church. So it was like, should I have stayed in the church? Would that be a different path? But being out of the church, I had more opportunity for my music to reach wider audiences. To the point where I work with the artists who, they're using they cuss and stuff as a hip hop artist, but when I send him my instrumentals, he said, your music makes me want to cuss less. Like I don't want to cuss when I'm like working on your tracks. And of course, in sync, you want to try to keep things clean and friendly for the most part. But yeah, I would ask, and I mean, not would I do. I wonder that often. I do ask, like, hey, am I doing what is his purpose for my life?
So let me ask you this: do you feel like you turned your back musically on church?
No, I feel like church was holding me back from what my purpose is in music,
Okay.
because of what I have been able to uh, work on. It's like, when they say one door closes, another door opens.
Mhm.
Um, that door just happened to be the the church, the physical church setting.
Mhm.
But once that, I mean, there's opportunity. I'm working right now on a gospel hip hop project. So it's like you can always take, the musician out of the church, but you can't take the church out of the musician. A lot of
Absolutely.
musicians, um, there's just a lot of things that the church formal setting, and the one I was at, uh, just wasn't the best environment it took me a long time to realize, but I realized during the pandemic, and it also took a lot of time away from obviously family. I have a wife and kids. So the pandemic was really, I was there for a long time. I was there for over 25 years, but the pandemic was the first time, 2020, first year I was able to spend all of Mother's Day at home with the family, or all of Father's
Mm.
Day at home with the family, because I would have to be in church, uh, for the on a Sunday morning until Black
Yeah.
Baptist Church in America is till 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. The next day.
Yeah, yeah. And then by the time you get home, you're so tired, and you got to get ready
Right.
for rehearsal. Yeah, so it was a cycle that I didn't know anything other than that until the
Mhm.
pandemic hit. It was like, oh, I can now. And then the other thing is, I realized I get more fulfillment creating music than playing other people's music.
Mm.
Um, so I mean, they're great musicians, playing Kirk Franklin or Ty Tribbett or Shirley Caesar or Richard Smallwood or Fred Hammond, or all these incredible artists. But I like creating music, and having that freedom to focus on creating music for these different projects, um, and opportunities.
Who made a perfect album to you?
I don't, as from what I hear, Cardi B has a good one out, but I haven't listened to it. Perfect album. Hmm.
And I don't care what
I mean,
genre.
I mean, you can go back and say, I'm trying to think of which one I listened to the most growing up. I was a huge Quincy fan, so Michael Jackson.
Which
Uh,
Michael? We're talking like off the
Thriller,
wall. We're talking.
Off the Wall, Thriller.
I'm an off the wall guy, except
I'm Off the Wall.
Lady of My Life is my absolute favorite love song in the
Oh,
history of
okay, I
love.
thought you said you didn't like it. I was like, okay, lady.
Love that song.
Yeah, I would say my favorite Michael Jackson song, the way Human Nature
Mhm.
musically was produced, that song with the changes, probably my favorite Michael Jackson, um, and obviously what he did for bringing Quincy Jones and the whole movie, bringing that to the forefront. MTV video, his videos or movies, of course.
I think
Yeah,
I have to go to the young Michael Jackson. I think I'll Be There would probably be my favorite Michael Jackson song, even
yeah,
though technically it's not a Michael Jackson song.
yeah, yeah. That's Jackson 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I might go Michael Jackson. I would say, let me see, I'm trying to think of something contemporary. Uh, I don't want to say what I want to say, um, because people hate him, hate the person. A lot of people hate him.
Who? R. Kelly?
R. Kelly, a lot of his albums,
Yeah. Like
front to back, nonstop.
musically,
Like,
he is the elite's elite. Like
yeah,
musically, fuck all the crazy shit. We take it out aside. We put first genius comes with
genius.
nasty stuff.
Yeah.
It does. You go over the history of like really elite whatever, and they are
Hmm.
nuts and freaks,
Yeah.
pedophile, of the whole. Anyway, but
Yeah. But
musically,
yeah, I
R.
mean,
Kelly is just bruh.
12 play, Chocolate Factory, that was insane. I really wish I mean, even what he did with the Trapped in the Closet series, where there was like 30 episodes of that. I don't know if you've seen them all, but there's like 30 of those. It's insane.
Nobody's seen them all, bro.
That's insane. It's insane. It's crazy. And then I would say Kanye, again, might be, but the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Really? College
just
Dropout.
I like College Dropout, but I like College Dropout. That I think both of those actually. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I like where he went cinematically with it.
Mhm.
And I know it's probably happened before, but I was surprised that the album started with us not hearing his voice. I think it was Nicki Minaj, the first voice you hear on the album, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, there are a couple I would consider like classics. Blueprint. Oh no, what's the film Jay-Z did?
Oh, American Gangster.
American Gangster. The
Yeah.
music on there.
I'm not with you on Blueprint. I think I'm fucking with you on American Gangster.
American Gangster. No, Blueprint has some. When I think of classic, I think every song is I will. It might not be a hit, but I'll re-listen.
But I'll play it. Like
Yeah.
I'm just going. If I'm driving, like I drove to North Carolina last year, and
From where do you live?
I live in Cleveland.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say if you like in South Carolina, that's not
right.
But,
Right. I decided to go down the rabbit hole of Jay-Z. I've never been a Jay-Z fan. And yo, man, I was so wrong about Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like,
and for him to do that and not write, I know they say he recites it like he does, like memory reciting, but to not write that stuff down, insane. I did like in his case, the growth of an artist, because people didn't like 444, whoever. Some people didn't like it. I like seeing that.
Brilliant.
Because he's not 20 years old, or he wasn't 20 when he came out, but he's not 30 years old anymore.
I don't want to hear you talking about selling keys at 50.
Yeah. It's like if you're a billionaire, you don't got to sell keys. It's like, what are you selling keys to a Ferrari? But I like musically, as far as beat selection, I think Rick Ross has probably one of the best ears choosing beats in the industry ever.
For the longest. Like there's nobody in the history of ever that has been. He may not be the best lyricist or whatever.
Yeah.
But for what he does, the beats that man picks is phenomenal.
Yeah, those are movie scores, like especially the Maybach Music series. Like I reference those often, and a lot of it was Justice League, but yeah.
He is hip hop's Curtis Mayfield to an extent.
Yeah, and definitely clip this and send this to him. But Rick Ross, man, his beats. I don't know if he's done an album recently. The thing is, I haven't listened to a full album in years. I used to listen to an album a day before the pandemic, and then pandemic hit, and I sort of fell into the podcast. Not unlike intellectually petty radio, listening to podcasts. Like when I have free time. So I fell into that. I do want to listen to Cardi B's project. I heard some great things about that. But what ends up happening is, and I don't want to put anyone out there, but I would listen to an album, and after 3 or 4 tracks, and there's 12, 15 tracks on there, it's like they all sound the same. Or I listen to like 1 minute of it or 30 seconds of it. It's like, okay, I know what this is about. I did listen to the Kendrick when that dropped last year. I enjoyed listening to that and the diversity he had. Part of it was because it was, the hype year with Not Like Us. But yeah, I rarely listen to a full album unless I'm collaborating with an artist and they're, they want me to reference a project, or I'm working with, on a project and they say, hey, listen to this album. We're getting inspired by this music, whatever the case is. But I listen to soundtracks. So I want to listen to the film soundtracks, scores, and also the like the songs that are used in the film. So I do listen to those occasionally, but mostly whatever I listen to is references for projects I'm working on.
Oh, somebody else who I went down the rabbit hole, 2 Chainz.
Oh, underrated. Cool. Lyrically, he is insane.
Yes. I just took him for kind of like I pigeonholed him, and I never really bothered to really get into. When I started listening to, and I said the Yin Yang Twins. I'm sorry to go on my soapbox.
No.
A couple of years ago, I saw them perform, and they didn't open up, but they were in front of Method Man and Redman.
Yeah,
good.
It's crazy.
I did not realize how many of their songs I thoroughly enjoyed, and they
Hmm.
performed them. Like I seen one of them walking on a cane before they hit the stage.
Hmm.
The stage, and you couldn't tell me them dudes were 25, and they had a catalog of hits. There ain't too many people can rock with their catalog of hits. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, yeah. And there's actually just on the producer side, like um, who I didn't realize I actually ended up having the opportunity to work with him this year
Mhm.
on a couple projects. Little John, like his
Crazy.
his catalog is insane as far
Right.
as music that'll keep you in the club all night, like partying. And then he does have the R&B stuff, the um, lovers and friends type vibes. But yeah, so really fingers crossed that I've worked with him on a couple projects, but fingers crossed I
Mhm.
can continue that journey with him and his team. He's insane.
Yeah, because I mean, this is no shade to Jermaine Dupri, but Lil Jon is right there.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Jermaine Dupri, I will, like he's got the Mariah Carey shit, like he's got the
Hmm.
superstars. Lil Jon made dudes that was at the grocery store the day before a superstar.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. And JD has that ear, and Little John, he could turn anyone into a star. I mean, there's a lot of producers who can take someone and like elevate them to a different level. Obviously, being in Virginia, Clips, Pharrell. That last project that they released, I like that, the Clips album, the most that came out like 2 months ago. Um, is the album called So Be It? I can't remember the name of the actual album, but
I'm
um,
not the biggest Clips fan and have not heard one song off of it.
check out the album. Being in Virginia, I think I do give those guys like from Virginia people clips. Obviously, Pharrell, Neptunes, Missy, Trey Songz, Teddy Riley, um, Timbaland. Like I do try to listen to their
Mhm.
projects. Chris Brown is a little tough. Because his albums are like 40 songs, 50 songs. I'm like,
Oh,
um, I don't have that time.
bro, come on, man. You Chris Brown. Like, I mean, I've had this conversation on the show
Mhm.
before when they be talking about the Michael Jackson, Chris Brown. Chris Brown is just a better artist, bro,
Mm. Then
than Michael
then
Jackson.
Michael, you think
Yes,
so?
my generation just cannot get over
Mhm.
ourselves. But dancer is absolutely a better dancer than Michael Jackson.
I wish we could see a parallel universe where they both were out at the same
Oh,
time.
that would be
Because I don't
wonderful.
I don't know. I know Chris Brown's been on tour forever. I don't know if it's a different age right now, so it's hard to
Yeah.
directly compare. But Michael Jackson had people. As soon as he stepped out on stage, ambulances coming out because 100 people are passing out and dying literally to see him.
I mean, but Chris Brown, and I don't want to be insensitive, but he beat up a chick and still made it.
Yeah, that's a tough one to
That's like, nobody
get
overcomes
over.
that,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, you can't. It's hard to overcome. I mean,
And not only was she
some
just a
people
chick,
haven't. Yeah.
she's a billionaire. Like she was one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And shout out,
somehow,
shout out to her too, because I would love to work with her.
oh my God, yeah.
Insane. Her
I'm
voice. She
I'm
just had
so
a
proud
baby.
of Rihanna just
Yeah.
as the businesswoman she's become.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's what I like seeing, especially with our daughter in Atlanta, where Georgia has the most black millionaires in the world, and just being around that. Of course, there's the other side of things, but seeing that and her being at a HBCU, seeing her in that element because I didn't go to a HBCU, but seeing her in that element and seeing how when I go to
Mhm.
like the Spell House homecoming and seeing how these people who went to Spelman and Morehouse and Clark have built these businesses and they're collaborating with each other, and I'm like, man, I just love seeing it and then being surrounded by that even at this age, even though I'm not going there directly, but then
Yeah,
being able to just witness, it's like, okay, that's what this is, and hopefully that's where our daughter's going to be
let's
with
be
her
real though, too.
community. Yeah,
She's not at just an HBCU. She's at the HBCU
yeah,
for sister.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
Um, shout out to Spelman. I need them to give us some scholarship money though. But yeah, give us that full ride and
It would
talk
help.
talk
Hey,
talk about it for days. But
if
yeah.
I know anybody in Spelman, which I don't think I do, but if I do, shout out to you. You look
Shout out
good
to
today,
Spelman. You look
right?
good, Spelman. Spelman. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Spelman. Love going down there. I love going to Atlanta. I actually have a lot more music connections in Georgia than I do in like the DC area. Um, uh, but yeah, just
Last
enjoy going
time you
down there.
cried,
Hmm. I don't. I don't know the last time. I don't know. Uh, it might have been. I know the last time I had to keep from crying. Um, it was the day that I met. Speaking of JD, I
Mhm.
saw JD on a panel at NAM. I do panels for conferences like NAM and South by Southwest, and there was a panel that was hosted in the it was like the Akai NPC room at
Mhm.
NAM, and they had like JD and Brian Michael Cox, and it was my goal was to meet Brian Michael Cox that day, and I knew one of his collaborators or people on his team, and
Mhm.
I called the guy and I was like, "Yo, um, I think my goal today is to meet Brian Michael Cox." And he was like, "Yo, just call me. You know, if you get to talk to them, just call me, and I'll set up the play." So I was standing outside like this green room before or after they got on stage talking about music and some of the songs they wrote, and Brian Michael Cox is like right at the door to this green room, and they had security there, so they wouldn't let me in. So I just yelled his name. I was like, "Yo, B Cox," and he was like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" And then pulled me in the room, and I was like, "Yo, man." I work with one of the collaborators. I like called him up and he told Brian, he's like, "Yo, this is my guy, the fingers, producer, composer, focusing on sync." And just had a conversation. Actually, one of the guys I was with at NAM, he captured the footage. So I posted it online of me having this conversation for it was like a 1 minute conversation talking to Brian Michael Cox. And I was telling him my daughter's in Atlanta. I was like, "Yo, I'll be out in Atlanta. Just let me know. Let's link up." I was just high off of meeting him. And that same day, my wife sent me a message because she was out there. We were all in California for NAM that week.
Mhm.
She was like, our grandfather passed away that day.
Mhm.
And I was just like, off of this high. And I was like, man, do we try to
Mhm.
get in the family by like, should we pack up and go? Should we head back home? Because I think we still had a couple more days. And she was like, no, let's just, we're out here. Let's just, focus on what you can. And then once we get back, we'll, get to the
Mhm.
family and focus on family. So, that was a emotional day because of I met him and I also met Corey Henry that same day that afternoon. So it was just one of those. It's life, and obviously got back home, and then going back to Little John, we got back home and we're recuperating from NAM, and then talking to family about the the arrangements and stuff. And so we were heading
Mhm.
down to South Carolina, which is where he lived with our grandmother. And on the way to South Carolina, I got a message from Little John to work on music for the world tour of Little John and Pitbull. He's like, "Yo, about to go on the like European leg of this world tour with Pitbull. Would love for you to do some like epic cinematic intro to this tour." And I was like, "Yeah, I would love to work on it, but if you need it, over the next like few days, I won't be able to do it because I'm heading to like a funeral, for my
Mhm.
grandfather." He's like, "Oh man, condolences. Yeah, if just whenever you get back, if you can work on it." And I was like, "Yeah, I appreciate it, man." So
Mhm.
yeah, spent some time with family, and then once I got back, got back to work to sort of work through the um, work through life, I guess.
Yo, I didn't know they pay. I didn't know they paid people to do shit like that though. That's crazy.
Uh, Me neither. So a lot of the opportunities I have are from just posting to social media. So I posted a trailerization I did of Usher, yeah, of his song "Yeah" a while ago, and it might have been when he was going to do the Super Bowl. And I just reposted, every few months, and I posted it around the holidays, December last year. And
Mhm.
every time I posted, I tagged like JD and Little John and Ludacris and everyone who worked on the song and everyone I could find around Usher. On Instagram, you could tag up to 30 people. At least you
Yeah.
used to. I don't know if you still can. So I would tag Usher, and then 29 people around Usher that I could find. And yeah, one of the times I reposted it, and Little John saw it, and he sent me a DM. He was like, "Yo, bro, would love for you to work on some epic cinematic stuff." For some stuff I'm working on. And it started out with doing an intro to his DJ set at I think a Vegas residency he had, and then the second time he reached out was to work on that Little John and Pitbull, and then he just sent me a message literally at the time of this live, literally this week he sent me another message. So yeah, definitely been trying to lock in on that relationship, and it's things that I didn't realize, people I didn't know I could work with. Um,
Mhm.
uh, Growing up, it's like, man, I'm listening to them. I didn't know I could literally give them a call
Yeah,
and talk to them.
pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if people want to get in touch with you, they want to hire you, like Lil John, or they whenever they need business wise, how do they go about doing that?
I have a website. The website is Dafingaz, DAFINGAZ. You see the logo. You can't see all the letters, but DAFINGAZ. You also see it. Where is
Oh,
it?
wait a minute.
Right.
Hold on. Scoot over just a little bit, bro. We got to
Yeah.
see this.
I mean, let
I
me.
didn't realize like
Hold
the
on.
line and the D.
There you go.
Oh, that's
See,
fire,
I had to
bro.
duck down the fingers. And this was actually an artist made this years ago. I did a sample pack for his company, and he was like, "Yo, put your logo on there, and I'll I'll promote it." Because he was like, "I can't really afford, your price, but we'll make sure we promote it, and I'll put your logo on there." I was like, "Yeah, man, I don't have a logo." And he was like, "Well, I do logo design." This was before all this AI stuff. I do graphic design, and he was like, "Yeah, what do you want?" I was like, "I don't know. Like a piano and some keys. I play keys. The name's the fingers." So he gave me a couple ideas, and gave me like all the artwork he was working on as he was developing it. And yeah, this one we settled on. So
Shout out
that's
to
a
him.
logo.
Oh,
Yes, but it's like the D pause is a piano. A little bit. You can see like the keys. It's like a reverse
yeah,
piano.
that shit is fire.
Yeah. So defingers.com is a website. I have a Facebook group. We're 3,500 members, I believe, focusing on sync. It's called Secrets to Success. I have a newsletter where I'm sending out opportunities that I'm working on and just updating people with life, telling people about the writing camps and things that the team I work with works on. So just a lot of ways, but the fingers everywhere. DAFINGAZ on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook are probably my main, and then the newsletter. I am on TikTok. I don't really focus on TikTok much, but yeah. So just the fingers. Look up the fingers and tap in.
Anything we can expect in the future?
Immediate future, finishing up this film Airshift, finishing up a Hebrew hip hop project with a Hebrew artist. That'll be for Sync. Finishing up, I want to finish up a gospel project by the end of the year. I have to do a lot of trailer music by the end of the year. So just a lot of music. A lot of music and opportunities. I live in the DC area, so I do like meetups. Usually when I travel, I do meetups wherever I'm going. So I'm doing the next DC meetup October 9th. I'm doing a meetup in DC. So for those, if you know musicians in the DC area, tell them to come meet up. It'll be at Prima DC October 9th that evening. I also do them when I travel. Working on 2 panels for NAMM 2026. NAMM will be in Anaheim in January. Hopefully we're doing some more panels with South by Southwest. Both South by Southwest, or all 3 South by Southwest. There's one in Austin, there's one in London, there's one in Sydney. Actually, the one in Sydney is in about 3 weeks. Doing some, there might be a writing camp in Sydney if we can pull that off. So fingers crossed. So a lot of things coming up. Also doing a conference in New York in about 2 or 3 weeks, doing some music. So tying the writing camps with a lot of opportunities that I'm already a part of. The public speaking, the music production, the sync, the workshops. I do workshops at colleges and universities and also online. So just it's all focused on the music side of things, things that I'm learning, and then I'm sharing things that I wish I knew when I was getting into this thing called music.
Yo, man, it's a freaking phenomenal story, bro. I would have never imagined. And I know, like, I got stuff in front of me. We didn't get everything. But bro, I'll be here for a week. I'm too old for this shit.
It's all good. It's all I got time.
I cannot possibly thank you enough. It's been phenomenal, bro. If there's anything I can possibly do for you, please let me know, and we got you.
Yeah, appreciate it. We'll do.
And shout out to Rita. Rita just gets.
Oh yeah, shout out to Rita. Yeah, shout out to there's people in the sync industry that that help bring people to different venues and platforms and get placements and so shout out to Karita.
Yeah, it's my dog. Anyway, on that note, man, we out of here. I'll be back at what the hell did I do? I'll be back at 7:00. And we got Dr. Michelle coming on. Anyway, appreciate you, bro. You have a phenomenal purpose, man, and keep up the great work, bro.
Well, dude, definitely appreciate the time and the opportunity.
And one more thing. If nobody told you today, I'm proud of you.
Proud. You know what? There's something that I do for platforms that a lot of people don't. I don't know if they don't do it, but I'm gonna give you. Are you familiar with? It's typically in the radio side. It's called a drop. Are you familiar with what a drop is?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give you a drop so you can chop this up. You can use it for promo in the future. Not saying that I'll be anybody in the future that you want to maybe use this promo, but here we go. All right, 3, 2, 1. What's good? This is Marcus Dafingas, Dafingaz. I'm a music composer, producer, focusing on sync, licensing, and trailer music, and you are listening to Intellectually Petty Radio. Let's get it.
That part. Yeah, I
There
like
you
that,
go.
bro. Yeah, appreciate that. That was fucking dope. Anyway, on that note, man, we out of here. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Peace.
Peace.